Good morning, folks. How we doing? It is 10:18 on the East Coast today, and we're gonna just go over the remaining schedule for the AFC East because it is a very good division this week. I do have two very good podcasters coming on this morning, so let's bring them in. We'll go with Miami first. What's up, buddy?
What is good? It is good to be in here. Love talking AFC East football, especially about America's team, the Miami Dolphins.
I'm sure this guy might have something else to say about that. What's up, Mr. Chaos?
I wouldn't want to claim the Jets as America's team.
Oh, why not?
Well, you want to associate America with winning. Now, I'm not going to steal Miami Dolphins thunder and tell them the rules. You're allowed to feel that way about your team. I don't judge anybody, but that's my personal criteria. I want to associate. Maybe if we win a couple of Super Bowls, I'll ask for that title. But right now, I'm just hoping like the title for the Jets will be, hey, up and coming team that you should respect.
All right. Well, just curious. I know we got Bills in New England tonight. Bills in New England tonight, right?
Yes,
so
we do.
Which way do you guys go on this poll?
I mean, if you're asking who I think is going to win, I think Buffalo. I mean, they're just, I think, overall better. However, a little banged up in the secondary, but that's not really what the Patriots do well. Although Mac Jones played well last week, can he continue that? That'll be a big question. I like the Bills to win. Who am I pulling for? Of course, the Patriots want to make room in that top of the AFC East. For the, of course, America's team. Speaking of winning, the Miami Dolphins. So that's just my opinion.
Which way you look at this, Jets?
Well, I think that Buffalo should win. My expectation is Buffalo should win. They're a better team than New England, but I'm different level of confidence with the Jets. Right, they're coming from a different place. Being that I think the Jets are very ahead of schedule in their rebuild, and this is kind of like not supposed to have happened this year so soon that we're talking about playoffs. But some Jet fans are greedy. They want the whole division, and they're acting as if that's what they're going to do. I'd say number one, I would take a tie, believe it or not. That would be really nice because I could see a tie end up being like something that could be the difference in any situation, whether it was for the division or the wild card. But if I have to, I'm going to be more conservative and say I want the Bills to beat the Patriots. I'm going to concede that the Jets aren't ready to win the division and just root for what's best to get us into the playoffs. And I think New England having the sweep of us and having that tiebreaker, we need the Patriots to lose a bunch of games and not be a threat to us.
So before we move on, I just have something funny to share. Last night, I have two Jets fans on my show. So, we're always talking back and forth. And he said the exact same thing you did. And no disrespect to you, because I was disrespecting him when he said it. But what I said to him was, that's the small-minded mentality of a Jets fan. You guys are just worried about getting into playoffs. Let's think big picture. Let's get after that AFC East title. You guys got an easy road to hoe down the way here. I think you guys got at least shot at it. So that's the mentality you guys should have.
Well, we got a huge quarterback issue. And
of course.
I like the way Mike White played last week, obviously. But we have a huge quarterback issue. And, next year I'm right with you. Next year I won it all. My whole thing is Super Bowl in 23. But but I don't know. We haven't tasted the playoffs in a while.
Sure, you preach it to the choir.
But I can understand the way. I can understand the way two is playing. I understand why Miami is saying screw the playoffs. We want the division completely. Totally understand that.
It's false bravado, my friend. Trust me.
So, Jets, you guys got Minnesota. Does Justin Jefferson scare your defense?
Yeah, look, you got to be worried about a playmaker like that. It's the same thing when you're talking about Tyreek Hill and Waddle when we play Miami. Like any Jet fan or anybody who says, "Oh, they don't scare me," either doesn't know about football or they're lying. I mean, these are scary guys. They are so dangerous after they catch the ball. No matter how good your defense is, anytime you get the ball to one of these kind of players in the open field, it's dangerous. That's how great defenses are scored against great star players. And I'm confident that we can contain, that we're not as vulnerable as some other teams because we do have an incredible secondary. We got Reed and Sauce, obviously, as a rookie playing so well. So I have confidence that we can contain, that we can stay in the game. I don't feel like, we have no chance. These guys are going to eat us alive. They're going to just run up the score on us. But at the same time, very concerned about this kid. I mean, he's an incredible talent. And I don't care how good your defense is. If you get beat by it, if he beats them or he gets, he's just gone. And he gets the contested catches. So no matter how well you cover him, he wins those contested battles. So sometimes it's just literally impossible to stop him.
Jets, Kamish, you got a big game too. If you want to talk about it briefly, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, false bravado. I'm very nervous about this weekend, and not just because of the matchup. I'm nervous about Tua. We got Armstead coming in. Maybe not being able to play this week against. We got Joey Bosa to worry about. You get a big defensive line rushing Tua. I'm scared he's going to take a few hits that he shouldn't. And then we're going to be back to Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson. And we all know what happens then. So very nervous. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Nick,
I know. They look the same. I
got the Bosa's wrong. So anyway, very nervous about the matchup. We got a really tough row to hoe down the way. So, we'll see. And again, as a Dolphins fan, as Jets fans can relate, I'm just waiting for that, okay, yeah, you guys are good, but here's a reminder how you guys are just average. Here's your daily, yearly reminder of that. So I'm hoping that's not what happens this weekend.
It's refreshing to talk to a Miami person that recognizes that, because it's so funny how we talk to Miami fans sometimes, Jet fans, and Jet fans are the same way. Like, fans are fans, but they forget that their team hasn't done much either. Like, Jet fans will say, "Oh, Miami stinks." It's like, but you're a Jet fan, and Miami fans will say, "Jets stink." I mean, both of our teams, like the last one of us to win a Super Bowl was 73, right? January 73. We won in 69. So neither team should be walking around with any kind of arrogance.
None, right.
And I think I feel what you're saying. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Anytime that's it's going well, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and that's just the trauma of being fans of teams that have let us down and broke our hearts.
Absolutely.
Now, Kamish, do you miss Minkah, or are you happy with the pick you got for it?
Oh, I mean, we could sit here and analyze every trade. Of course, I'd love to have Minkah Fitzpatrick back in our secondary, but when you go on, the overall, I guess, if you look at the whole overall trades that went down, and I apologize, I don't have all the trades that went down.
Yeah, I didn't have it either. That's why I asked. I figured you might.
Yeah, but to build this team that's here right now, totally impressed. Mike McDaniels, though, I think is like the key ingredient that really came through for us. Was the best hire possible for this team. Came in, really identified that Tua is a decent quarterback. He's got skills. And he was basically being, put aside. I was even done with him after the Titans game last year. Mike McDaniels comes in, he boosts his ego up. The addition of Tyreek Hill, who also came in and did nothing but boost Tua's ego up, get his confidence up. And I think that's the biggest difference you see now. Confident Tua out there. And why wouldn't you be confident when you got Tyreek Hill open every freaking play? So yeah, love it.
All right. So was the ping pong table a distraction?
No, actually, he actually came back out and said that was a false report, that he only removed it because he was getting a customized table.
I saw. It was a great story though to read.
Right, for sure.
It was really funny. It was really funny to read that.
I was like, oh.
He's a character though, and I said it preseason. I think even when we had our little Dolphin discussion here, that I think he may go down as one of the Miami Dolphins' best, the best free agent acquisition they've ever had, just simply for the not only the on-field stuff. I mean, that's obviously apparent, but what he's done to the locker room and what he's done to Tua. You should have seen him in spring training. He's getting the fans all fired up on the sideline, trying to get reaction. I mean, we're in spring training. Chill, bro. But he was getting us fired up then. So you gotta absolutely love Tyreek Hill in the addition to.
I think the whole fan base was fired up when Tyreek Hill came to Miami.
And why wouldn't we be? Right.
Right. I mean, you could talk to Jets, and he probably feels like he got robbed on the Tyreek Hill thing.
No, I never believed it. I never believed it. Plus, I'm not going to say I didn't want it because I don't think Tyreek Hill is an amazing player. And I'm not even sure I'm right. I might be proven wrong on it. My take at the time was the Dolphins were in a different place than the Jets. And to me, it was like, really, we're going to just smash the whole rebuild, to put ourselves in crazy cap issues, like we have all these draft picks, we're going to throw it away, we have all these holes. I don't feel Miami had as many holes. I think Miami is more in a win now, and I think that's being proven. I think Miami is a Super Bowl contender right now. I honestly believe that. I believe they have a very legitimate shot at going to the Super Bowl because they don't lose when Tua plays. So I think for them it was the right move. For us, I'm like, was he good enough to make us a Super Bowl team? I mean, we certainly, even though we look better this year, at the time, we didn't have that information. I was hoping we were going to win 8 games. So what was the point of getting Tyreek Hill? So we could win 10, but not get any better because we gave up all our draft picks and all of our capital. So it didn't make as much sense to me. Also, I never believed he was coming. I'm a realist. Tyreek Hill was going to Miami before anything. Before it was the same thing as LeBron. Everybody was acting like that show when he announced he was going to Miami was a surprise. And then when he went to the Lakers, like it was a surprise. If you read between the lines, you know where these guys are going. Tyreek Hill went home. That was his dream, to go home and play there. And there was never a thought in my mind that he was going to come and play with the Jets when he can go and play in his hometown.
Kamish, you probably love watching. Did you end up getting a Tyreek Hill jersey yet?
No, I actually a long time ago. In fact, the last time I bought a jersey with a player's name on it was Dante Culpepper, and since then I have not bought a jersey with the player's name on it. I get the customized one with my own name because I'm not going no damn where.
You two should get together and do a jersey show.
I'm the biggest jinx for jerseys. When I buy players' jerseys, there's no greater jinx than me. Even when I buy it for other people. I bought my friend the Mekhi Becton jersey a week before he went down the first time.
And then he tried giving away the Moore jersey.
I didn't, though. Luckily, I didn't.
Right? Yeah,
that was
we talked about the other night. Mike White definitely seems to be bringing a spark that is needed for these Jets wide receivers because the Mom Hunter was not getting it done.
And I don't have the stats, but last year he did if it was last year or the year before, whenever he came in before, he did the same exact thing, came in, lit it up. But then the second game, and again, I don't have the stats or whatever, didn't come in as good. But again, I don't have the stats here. I don't know what defense he faced. So I don't know if that was defensive scheme where they looked at Mike White that week and were like, hey, let's scheme against this guy. Or did he just play a good defense? Either way, fantasy perspective, since we're bringing up the Jets, I actually did it in a league. I'm on the show that's it's a $5,000 prize, and I'm in the playoffs right now. And I have Brady as my QB, and I literally just dropped him this week, and I picked up Mike White because I love his matchup so much against this Vikings defense. And no matter what, the Vikings, I think, will score points, period. I mean, Jets are good defense. They're going to hold them, but the Vikings will score. And so, thusly, the Jets are going to have to keep with them. So I like Mike White as far as fantasy is perspective this week.
I'll give you the insight on Mike White. He came in last year, beat Cincinnati, and has this amazing game that gets his jersey into the Hall of Fame, right? Comes out the next week against Indianapolis, who has a good defense at the time. And the first 2 drives, touchdowns. Like the first drive, touchdown. It was going to be a shootout. Indianapolis was walking all over the Jets defense. And then on the touchdown pass, he bangs his hand into the defender and he comes out of the game. But he was having another great game.
Okay.
He comes back against Buffalo. Now, here's what people don't understand have to understand about this game. He did not throw or turn the ball over until they had fallen behind like 24-3. So at 24-3, the Jets couldn't run the ball. I mean, it was Buffalo. They were and it was the Jets last year, 4-13 team. They were being completely dominated. He started pressing, but that was the play calling too. Like Saleh took it, ownership of it. He said, "Yeah, we were desperate. We were trying to get back in the game. We were taking chances we would never normally take. He was making throws he wouldn't normally make, but he was trying to force it because otherwise we're just conceding the game." So he threw 3 interceptions. It didn't work because it's Buffalo, right? And they're too good for that. And he never got another chance. He came out. Flacco played against Miami the next week. Zach Wilson comes back. And that was the end of Mike White. So his one game that blew his opportunity, and not to make excuses, he didn't play well, but there's a lot of quarterbacks who don't look good against Buffalo. So the reality is Mike White has started 5 games. In 2 of those games, he's had over a 75 pass completion percentage, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Very few people have ever done that in the NFL in the first 5 starts. I don't think any. And he's only the second Jet in history to have over 1 game with a 75% pass percentage and 300 plus yards. So there's a lot of good, but there's also very small sample. So I think you're right. I think Minnesota is a good gamble if you don't have a quarterback because they don't have a great passing defense, and he's played really well against any team that's not named Buffalo. Right. But at the same time, as a Jet fan, I'm being conservative about it because after the Minnesota game, we play Buffalo. And
I was just gonna ask that. Do we guys go to Buffalo next, or is it at home? I don't really know.
It's in Buffalo, so that's when he's gonna get. That's when he's gonna get his real test. That's when he'll get his real test. But it's funny that Jet fans are all over. Like I'm not a homer of any player. I watch and I see. I try to keep it controlled and not get too excited. But it's funny how Jet fans are already criticizing. But he stunk against Buffalo. It was only because the Bears had a bad defense. And then when you talk about the Buffalo game last year and that situation, they say, "Oh, you're making excuses." And now usually these are Zach lovers. And I'm saying you have the nerve and the hypocrisy to say that I'm making excuses for Mike White when for a year and a half we've heard nothing but excuses for why Zach Wilson absolutely stinks.
Yeah, totally agree. I was wondering myself, like, why are they sticking with this kid? Like, I don't see anything in him. There's literally nothing great quality I see in him. And then you throw in, the poor leadership qualities, and it's like, all right, bro, like, what are you guys doing? I mean, I don't see him ever playing for you guys again, quite honestly.
It's possible he won't. It's possible.
It's like a Mark Sanchez situation.
I mean, it's worse, though, because, at least Mark Sanchez, I think, at least had a little bit of the locker room. This kid, I would just assume, I'm not in the Jets locker room, but, if I'm a grown man playing a sport, especially on the defensive side of things, and you have a piss poor game and, you get asked that kind of question, your answer should simply be, yeah, we let them down today, period. Like, we put up 3 points, period. We need to put up more points. That's how you answer that. You don't just, oh, no, and act like a little baby.
He should have did what every other professional quarterback does and what every other leader does. He should have looked to take ownership of it. He should have said, we didn't have a running game because of me, because they weren't afraid of me. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth. They stacked the box because they were basically daring Zach Wilson to beat him. He couldn't, and that's why they didn't have a running game. So for him to talk about the running game was such poor leadership. Because it was literally the reason they didn't have a running game was his play. And the fact that he couldn't answer the challenge.
You had more punch than throws.
Yeah. They dared him.
That's not a good stat at all.
And check this out. Half of his 73 passing yards, half, was a bad pass where Mims did a great job coming backwards. And it was like that contested, he's 6'4". One good thing about Mims is that he's this big, fast, great athlete. He was able to stop, come back, and beat the cornerback in jumping up and getting the ball. But it was a horrible pass. If the cornerback turns around, it's an interception. So, so that was half his yards. Otherwise, he's under 40 yards against New England. And like people say, oh, New England rival. No, look at what happened to New England the next week.
Right.
You shouldn't throw only 40 yards against New England. There's no excuse. And that's all we get from Zach and all the really big Zach supporters. Now, I was a big Zach supporter. I was happy with the information I had. I loved him out of college. I was happy with the pick. But at some point, you have to open your eyes and just know as a football fan, 70% of the time you miss on quarterback when you draft one. They don't all hit. And you have to at some point accept it.
It's all about right guy, right system. I think Tua actually is a very good example of that. Look how he started out with Flores and, and the hate, and he just wasn't playing well. And look what a new scheme and a new coach has done to him. So maybe somewhere else, Zach could fit in somewhere. But even like I said, if 40 yards as an NFL quarterback, there is no excuse. I don't care how good the defense is. You're in Trent Dilfer territory, and that guy at least got a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that can save Zach, the only thing that can save him is he's 23. And that there is some physical talent, but every quarterback drafted has some physical talent. That's what people don't understand. You don't draft somebody that doesn't have talent. We know that they have physical talent. Quarterback is all about the thing you can't gauge, and that's the mental part. Will they be able to process the game and play at that speed? And it's proven to be something that probably the hardest thing for any scout or any GM to ever predict, because look at the, hit failure rate.
I remember, Commish, on our show, whenever we were talking about how important it was to bring in Chase Edmonds. But now with Wilson, and if Mostert comes back, is he coming back this week?
He is. Yep, he is scheduled to play.
I didn't catch any of that information yet, but I didn't really look at my fantasy team. I know I have Mostert on the bench, but I didn't see anything. But like with those two additions in the backfield, how much does that open up the game book, the playbook for McDaniels?
Yeah, I mean, big time, obviously. I mean, it's before. I mean, even look at the Houston game. That was like an anomaly. Like, Houston's horrible against the run. Yeah, everyone was saying Jeff Wilson Jr., he's the spot start of the week. I mean, I must have, a couple guys on my show said it. I've heard a lot of other people said it, and they shut our running game down because literally surprisingly, that's all they kept doing was run blitzing. It was like the entire game, it was like a run blitz. So Tua was like, Mike McDaniel said, okay, well, we're just going to throw short passes all game, which is exactly what they did. And that's why they ended up with that 30-point lead. It didn't make any sense to me, quite frankly. But the addition of the running game, quite frankly, it takes the pressure off Tua. Towards the end of the game, obviously, it's always big to be able to run the clock out if they need to. So it's a big addition, Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. And I like that way they're using them. Even when Chase Edmonds was in, they all seem to be injury prone. They all have history of injury, all of them. But yes, he's been using them sparingly. It's like one game in the beginning of the season, it was like one game Mostert would have more carries, then the other game Edmonds would have more carries. It was like a back and forth. I guess he was really just trying to find the groove until, of course, Jeff Wilson arrived. So, again, big additions to that running game opens up this offense more and allow less that defense rest a little bit, and hopefully it can bend but not break has pretty much been the mentality of the defense. So
I think it's funny that there are enough former 49ers on Miami and the Jets where you could pull them out, create a football team, and call them the 49ers.
Indeed. Yeah, that's a big and speaking of that, again, big factor going into this game too. Those revenge games are a thing. So you got Raheem and you got Jeff Wilson all going into revenge games this weekend against the Niners. So they'll definitely be looking to play well. What's that?
And Mike McDaniels.
Oh, yeah, of course. And Mike McDaniels. I mean, that's a horse of a different color, when it comes to going back. I think on the show I was watching just a little while ago, they were talking about the predecessor coming back to face the teacher, as it will, and how those matchups laid out. So it's gonna, like I said, a lot of interesting storylines in our game this weekend.
It seems to be the whole theme of the NFL this year. I mean, you got, I know we go off topic, but I mean, the NFL set up for Deshaun Watson to come back against the Texans. And I read something this morning that they're trying to like black the game out, not make it a national game. I don't know if anyone saw that yet. I tweeted something about it earlier.
No, I did not. I didn't hear. I got Sunday Ticket. I'm watching anyway. So,
and yeah, I just didn't know why they were trying to block it out. Like,
well, I don't know. I know in Miami, and again, whatever. I'm sure every NFL stadium's that way. If they don't sell out, that's when they talk about blacking out locally. So I don't know if maybe that's what you saw, but I don't see how that's not a sold out game for Houston.
You look like you were going to say something there, Jets.
No, I was just saying, because you're talking about the Niners Dolphins game. I've got to say, even like from not even the perspective of rival Dolphins or whatever, just as a football fan, I'm really excited about that game. That's a really interesting matchup, especially right now. The way Miami is playing right now, the resurgence of San Francisco and the way their defense is playing. This is just, for any NFL football fan, I don't know how you wouldn't be excited about this game.
Go back to your school days and remember that huge test that you had coming up that you weren't really sure if you were prepared for, that feeling in your stomach. I had that starting Tuesday. I am so nervous about this game and how they're going to look and all that. So I'm going to be awaiting a bated breath to see what they look like.
So you're kind of excited they didn't move it to the 8:20 game.
Yeah, I'm really actually excited they didn't do that because I don't know how. I mean, next week I have to sit here and chew it all Sunday and wait till the 8 o'clock one now that they flexed us. So not going to be fun for me, but we'll see how it goes.
Oh, they did move your game next week?
Yeah, the Chargers game, it was flexed to Sunday night.
Thank God we don't have to watch fucking Russell Wilson again.
Well, I think that's what they were saying. It was like, I think it was the Broncos and I don't know what it was. What was it? Broncos and somebody, and they were just like, yeah, no, we're flexing that one, it's a good matchup. I like Dolphins Chargers. It'll be fun.
The Jets haven't been flexed up in 11 years.
Yeah, I think they said for the Dolphins, it was the first time since 2006 or something. Maybe it was 16. It was a while ago. Whatever the hell it was, it's been a long time since they flexed us too. So yeah, again, it goes back to what I said earlier, though. It's that whole I don't want us to be flexed. I don't want the attention. I don't want it. I don't like it. I just want to go sneakily. I want to be like Tennessee Titans. I want to be that team that sneakily just keeps winning. Nobody's talking about, and then boom, all of a sudden the playoffs show up, and they're like, oh snap, this team's good.
For a tough acting to acting.
Right.
Yeah, I personally prefer the Jets being on as early as possible. One of the things when I moved to California, I love the 10 a.m. is after the game, win or lose, I still want to have a day left. I'm one of these guys, I don't love going to work on Monday. So I don't want to watch a game and then it's dark outside already and it's time to go to bed and wake up and go to work. I want to have at least some Sunday left. I could say, okay, now I could relax and I still have some time off. So I've always been into the early game. I always get, I have the direct TV or whatever. I get every game, so I'm not worried about it. I don't need prime time, but there are a lot of Jet fans. I don't know how Dolphin fans feel about it that are always pissed about it and feel disrespected. And I'm like, dude, who cares if anybody respects you? Just win. Just win.
Exactly how I feel. That's right. Exactly how I feel.
That game that got moved next week was Denver and Kansas City.
Ah, yeah, that's what they were like. Yeah, let's not have this whooping on national television.
Oh, where are we at? I know I printed up the schedules, but it's really hard to read.
You're good. We can see it. This is I'm assuming.
Who's it? What team is this? Is New England?
Must be Patriots. It must be.
That's New England, and they're not here, so we don't have to worry about them. I plan on having one of each, but obviously that is yours, right? Yeah, that is Miami.
Yep. So like I said, a tough road to hoe. We got 2 back-to-back games in California, which we are going to stay out there. I kept saying it in the preseason. I was like, I hope they're going to stay out there, which they are. It's a good idea. and then 3 games away, then go to Buffalo after this whole tough stint in California. Man, it's going to be tough, man. Tough road to hoe for sure. Then Packers at home on Christmas Day. Gotta love that. And then we go to New England, and then we got those Jets, Jets, that last game of the season at home. I cannot wait for that, especially because my cohorts on the show will not stop bringing up the Jets loss. So I'm like, cool. When we get now, and one thing I'm going to say too is that we did not forget that you guys ran that score at the end of that game. I didn't forget it, and I know if I didn't forget it, the Dolphins sure the hell didn't forget it. So I can't wait for that last game of the season.
I'm about 80% confident, 80%. that last game of the season is going to be incredibly meaningful for both teams. Now, I don't think for Miami it's going to be losing, you're not in the playoffs. I think for Miami it's going to be about seeding or winning the division. And I'm being honest, because Jet fans will say, how could you say this? I'm just being honest about what I believe. And I believe for the Jets, it'll be win and you are in the playoffs, lose and you're out, which is a big fear. Because last game of the year, the last place, or one of the last places I want to be playing for a playoff spot is against an angry Miami team in Miami. It's like, no, not ideal.
Yeah, and my co-hosts actually are coming with me to that game. I just can't. I hope it is. If we win, we put them out, because that's all I'm going to
be a long drive back for the other person, whoever wins
what
or
a
loses.
Fun drive back home that will be.
Were you at the Houston game?
I was not actually. That's one of those where, I live in Orlando, so it's a 3-hour drive for me, when I go down to games. So for those that if it's like, then, I'll either give them to family members or I'll try to just sell them online or whatnot. So, yeah, I didn't head down for that one. I figured we'd be good for that.
It's a good little sneaky Christmas gift, huh?
Right, exactly. Absolutely. I've been trying to give away those Packer tickets, but nobody wants to damn go on Christmas Day. And I'm like, damn.
Well, now we might see Jordan Love instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's going to make it worse. Yeah,
ball game. I do like Christian Watson, though.
Yeah, he looks good. That's the reason why they took him first.
6 touchdowns in the last 4 games or something.
Yeah, I loved him coming out.
Everyone was on Romeo Doubs, but there's a reason why the Packers took Christian Watson before him. Hello, so
yeah,
I still think they wanted Trevon
4, runs a 4.3.
That's my own personal opinion. That will always be my personal opinion. They wanted that guy to replace Devontae Adams. And Trevon Burks had that same size and ability. That's just me. That is just me. All right, I won't block you this time, Jets, but
you won't block me.
I didn't realize, I wish you could move that, because, I don't know how, the overlay just comes right down the
middle. Don't worry
about it. Nothing I can do about it.
I just thought it was a good opportunity because, to do that, because he was talking about me. So. Every time when I do the watch party with my friend Green Bean and his channel, we do the watch party together, and whenever the Jets score a touchdown, he does the JT Jets chant, he plays a video of the chant, and in the little corner there's a space where I go and I wave to everyone.
That's awesome.
So do you feel the Jets have an easier schedule down the stretch than Miami?
Originally, that was the plan, that the Jets schedule was supposed to look easier. But yeah, everyone thought the Jets were going to start off the season. There were people saying that one guy 1-8 because of how. But the NFL, it's like you never know how tough a schedule is until the season's over, because you play Green Bay and you think you're beating a great team, and we weren't really beating a great team. We were beating a team everybody was going to eventually beat. So you look at it now, and it looks a lot tougher than it did the beginning of the year, and especially even a few weeks ago, just based on how some of those teams are playing. Detroit's playing a lot better. So suddenly this game we thought would be easy is going to be anything but easy. And then the Jacksonville game, it seems like Trevor Lawrence is getting better every week, and that's not going to be easy. So the games that were supposed to look easy realistically don't look that easy. And then in the beginning of the year, we never thought going to Minnesota would be easy, but we didn't think we'd be going to play a 9-2 team. So that's not fun. And then and this is like Jets are convinced the NFL commissioner and the world hates them because you make our schedule not only start off hard, but you're going to end the year by playing pretty much in the last few games in Buffalo, in Miami. So I mean that's just
Seattle.
cruelty. So
right now they go to Seattle, Miami.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Look, the Jets are going to have to. We said it before we played the Bears. We have to win the games we're supposed to win, which means even though it's going to be tough, we have to beat Detroit and Jacksonville. And then the question was, like the way we said it, as far as a hope for a playoff, was that we were going to need to beat either Minnesota or Seattle. Like we need to somehow take one of those games and not rest and bet the farm on needing to win in Buffalo or in Miami. Like obviously, if it comes down to that where we have to, we're going to root for that. But our whole thing was, how could we get to 10 wins without it requiring a victory in Buffalo or Miami? And the only path to that is we got to win the 2 that we're supposed to, and we got to win 1, Seattle or Minnesota.
You feel the same way there, Kamish?
Well, I hope they lose every game. I don't know what. Yeah, no, but it's funny that you said that because being in the fantasy industry, like literally, I don't know how it just made me sick every time I heard it when we started the season. They're like, "Well, this guy's strength of schedule," and I'm like, "How the hell do you know what strength of schedule is? They don't even know what these teams are going to look like yet." So I think that's the biggest, dumbest stat that there is, especially in the beginning of the season. You can get some measurement in the middle where you start to get an idea what these teams are like. So get an actual strength of schedule. But yeah, again, like you mentioned, Detroit, very tough out. Jacksonville, going to be a tough. Seahawks, going to be a tough out. It's in the NFL, man. Any given Sunday, it's going to be, you got some tough matchups. And like you said, then you got to go on the road. I mean, like I was talking about, we're in California 2 weeks in a row, and then we got to go to Buffalo. After that, I was like, damn, bro, like cut us a little slack. But it is what it is. We're just going to have to take that on the chin, and this is what makes teams champions. You got to come in, and they said they're going to stay out in California all week for the camaraderie too. They're going to have nothing else better to do. They had just read an article about it before we came on, but to hang out with each other, Mike McDaniel said they're just going to do things together, all that, which, hey, this could bring this team together even stronger, which could make that playoff run. You talked about it. I don't even want to say Super Bowl. I'll just make a playoff run for us this season.
He does feel like the Ted Lasso of the NFL. And I don't mean that in the bad way. I mean that in the best possible way.
Yeah, no, totally. Seems like it's just a great dude and fun. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever San Francisco played Carolina and Atlanta, they also stayed on the East Coast instead of traveling.
Yep.
And then I felt the Atlanta game was a trap game, and it ended up being a trap game. But because then they came, I think San Francisco played the Chiefs after the Atlanta game.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't have that on.
I think after this little tour, we're at least going to drop 1 or 2 of these games. I mean, it's still, like I said, tough road to hoe to be in California for 2 straight games, then come all the way to Buffalo. I mean, it's going to be tough.
And they can't even move that Chargers game. Oh, they already moved it to prime time, huh?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that puts you out there longer.
Yeah, I mean, 4 hours longer. I mean, it's a big deal either way, but still, like I said, just still tough 3 straight games. And, as Jets mentioned, 2 straight games at the end of the season for them. It's tough sledding, but, again, that may bring your team together and bring you that playoff magic you need.
You guys are pretty much away the whole end of the season, huh? Except for that Jets game and then the home game against Green Bay.
Yes, sir.
Buffalo, Green Bay, New England, and then the Jets.
It's tough.
So, does the whole AFC East make the playoffs?
That's going to be tough, man. There's some tough teams in the AFC. Obviously the Bengals, Titans, Ravens are still sneaky good every once in a while. I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think we are, next to the NFC East, the best division in football. I can't believe I'm even saying this. It's so exciting to say, but the best division in football, quite frankly. So it's very possible they do.
It's definitely possible. The reason I don't think it's going to happen is because of Cincinnati. I think that they are playing really, really well. Baltimore and Cincinnati, I think, are going to finish strong, and I think they're both. One's going to win the division, the other's going to go to the playoffs. So I'm just hopeful that the team left out in the AFC East is the New England Patriots.
And I think I think all the schedules are the same, but only because you've shown ours. That's how I can see it here in front of me. I think what might actually hurt the teams in the AFC East is that a lot of these games down the stretch, we're playing each other.
Yeah.
So we're, there's going to be some wins and losses on each side. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. So that might even things out for some other teams. Although, like I said, maybe their schedule is the same. I'm not sure, but either way.
New England down the stretch, they have Buffalo tonight, obviously. Then they have Arizona, Vegas, Cincinnati, Miami, Buffalo.
So this is why we're rooting against New England. That's, if you ask a Jet fan, it's logical, because when you look at that, we have to root against New England.
And then Buffalo down the stretch, obviously New England tonight, the Jets next week, and then Miami, and then Chicago, Cincinnati, New England again.
Yeah, they're 0-2. Don't forget, in the division. So, or maybe even 0-3, whatever they are. Yeah, actually 0-3. I'm sorry, they are 0-2 in the division. So they have to win some of those games, and that's why I'm pulling big time for the Patriots tonight.
It's funny because it's like it is two completely different circumstances. Miami is very realistically in its battle for the division. And I think if Jet fans are being realistic, I would love to say it, and it could happen by the end of this weekend. We might be saying, "Oh my God, we're in a battle for the division." But for right now, I know it's being conservative and setting a lower bar, but it's just maybe if it was next year, maybe if we'd already been in the playoffs, But being that we haven't been there in 12 years and everything, I really miss it. I really miss the rush of a playoff game. I just want, and I really hate for the confidence of these young players for what they've accomplished this season to not get it. So I'm being conservative and saying I just think we need the playoff game just for the future of the team, because I think it matters. I think going into next season, if they get a playoff game, it'll mean something for their confidence and and for their development.
Forget the playoffs, man. I'm happy for meaningful football in December, bro. That's what I'll take.
And that's all we ask for. All Jet fans ask for. It's amazing how greedy we get, right? Because all we ask for is when they put up that graphic that says "in the hunt."
Yes,
is that the Jets are in that graphic. That's all we wanted. And all I wanted as a YouTube content provider was not to be doing mock drafts in December.
Well, both of your teams are off the bubble right now. You guys are in right now.
Yeah, in fact, if the playoffs started today, the Jets would be coming to Miami for that first round matchup. So that would be exciting.
Hey, there's something nice. I started watching football, when basically the second year was the Mud Bowl, the Miami Jets Mud Bowl. And so even with New England and everything they did, in my heart, as a guy that goes back to the early 80s and the guy who watched Dan Marino and Ken O'Brien duke it out for years, Miami will always be the rival, but it's a love-hate. Because some people just hate. And it's like, no. The existence of the Miami Dolphins has made being a Jet fan better. That rivalry matters. It makes football. It makes me love football.
Fake spike will always come to my mind between you two. The fake spike where you hit, what was that, Clayton in the corner?
Oh,
on the button hook,
yeah.
On the button hook back.
Duper and Clayton, my God, I'll never forget those two. But it's no. So I mean, it's like you got to appreciate the potential of the Jets and Miami. Not even potential, but the reality that the Jets and Miami are going to be playing meaningful games again that have a lot on the line.
It's just like when
England
you see
and Buffalo both play Cincinnati still. So I mean, this could change.
Yeah, it could definitely be tough, but it's just like, to your point, it's just like when you watch the old comics and Batman without no Joker. It's the same type of scenario. I mean, listen, obviously as a young kid watching Dan Marino, course, I know Freeman McNeil, Al Toon. If I have to see Mark Gastineau do that damn dance one more time, I'm going to lose my damn mind. So, like, yeah, definitely feel you on that. That Jets-Miami rivalry goes back. I went, but I have a couple of funny stories, but the funniest story, since you just brought it up, the fake spike. I was in the Marines. I was literally in boot camp when that happened. I was so pissed that my mom, every Wednesday, I would get the paper, the Sunday paper or the Monday paper from my mom. It would have all the, what happened. So I had to actually read about the fake spike. I didn't even get to see it live until I got out, but it was really, really cool. Like, it was just a fun moment while I'm sitting there in boot camp and I'm just sitting there reading. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. But yeah, just some fun stuff. But again, that rivalry goes back so far. And like I mentioned, if there's no Joker and not the Batman, you feel like you're missing something. So, and then when we move on to the playoffs, I'm always pulling for the AFC East because, hey, that's where we're from. So represent the AFC East. Yep.
All right.
Except the Patriots, because I was just done watching them win.
I can't root for the Patriots. I was going to say that, except for the Patriots. Last year I was pulling for the Bills. I was happy they pounded New England, and I was like, all over that and everything, but not the Patriots. I just can't.
They've won too much.
It's a different kind of hate. It's not the love hate. It's just hate.
Yeah. Is it easier to like kind of root for them now that Brady's out of the system?
No. Belichick.
I'm just curious. I didn't know. Like,
no, they've had so much success. I could care less. They're like kind of like I see even now the Chicago Bulls. Like I'm like I don't want to ever see them win ever again.
They only won 6.
The obnoxiousness of the fans there, I just can't. I've
seen too much back in the day of Michael Jordan. I'm done. They had their time. Move on. Get out of here. Let some other teams win.
Michael Jordan won what 6 in 10 years. That's pretty goat right there.
Yeah, he's the best.
Absolutely.
But and I want to say and go on record. I was the only Jet fan telling other Jet fans, you're out of your minds, when they were so quick to give up on Tua and say he's bad and this and that. I was a Tua believer. And it's like, it's hard to go out in Jets world, as a Jets guy to brag about it, because then they look at me, you're a traitor. But the reality was, I was yelling at Jet fans, stop saying he's trash. Like stop this. Like, you're going to look really stupid if he turns out to be good. I watched this kid in college. He's really good. Stop it. Attacking this kid. And now it's like there's still Jet fans that are doing it and making excuses like, oh, he has the system. And I'm like, would you shut up? That's what a quarterback is supposed to do. Be successful in their system. Like, I'm so tired of people crediting quarterbacks or discrediting quarterbacks and say it's the system. That's what makes a quarterback great, when they're able to run their team's system. There's no such thing as it's the system.
I still believe
the quarterback that makes the system work.
I still believe getting Waddle was huge for Tua.
Oh yeah, I mean, Waddle
just
and
like
Hill,
Chase and Burrow. I mean, that's huge too. I mean, you see the missing chemistry with Chase being out right now.
Right,
Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs. I mean,
right.
It's every quarterback. You need Peyton Manning had Harrison. I mean, come on.
Herbert walked into Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I mean, so.
But Herbert's developing Joshua Palmer pretty well right now too.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's a young guy.
And the Carter kid. DeAndre Carter. Is that his name?
DeAndre Carter. Yeah, they got a couple of good guys. But look at Sheffield with the Dolphins. Like, that's another guy. He's been a journeyman. All of a sudden, he's like making toe drag touchdown catches in the end zone, coming out of nowhere.
You guys had a guy like that last year too, though.
Yeah, we always end up having those guys, and then for some reason they end up going to New England. So hopefully that'll stop.
What was that guy's name last year that did that?
I don't know. I'm not sure who you're even referring to be honest with you.
He was like kind of like, do I grab him in fantasy or not?
I know who you're talking about. There's that wide receiver who Parker.
Oh, Devonta Parker.
No, he was all right.
Didn't he go to?
Yeah, he was on and off. Yeah, I can't think of who you're talking about. So we had Waddle. Will Fuller came and then left for a day.
It does feel like a lot of the Miami wide receivers end up in New England, though.
Yeah, it is true. It's as soon as we get somebody developed, like, let's ship him off to New England and see how well he does there.
You're treating yourselves like a minor league team. You made it up to the bigs.
Bill. That's why Bill loves it so much.
Is it nice having Wes Walker back as a wide receiver coach?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, it's just nice having him back. I mean, should have never left. I mean, been fine. But no, it's again talking about right person, right system. He fit New England system so well. I mean, he did great with us, but you know, we would have never been the receiver he was without Tom Brady, obviously. So
I think that's why a lot of the receivers went there.
yeah,
It ain't for Mac Jones.
sounds like a good wagon to get hitched up to for sure.
Well, boys, we ready to call it a day. I know Chaos got to get to work. Commish, you got a busy day ahead of you.
Yes, sir.
You're the kids outside.
All
They're
right.
waiting to come in and harass.
They don't know you do this or what?
Well, I'm in a different school right now temporarily. I'm in a company. We have 14 schools, and the elementary. I'm in a high school now that needed help. They were short admin, so they needed like someone to step in and help run the school. So they don't know me as much, the kids, but I like to mess with them. Like I mess with them, and I give them. I actually have given kids basketball cards and football cards to subscribe to the channel. Like when I was trying to get up in subs in the very beginning and build the channel, I was like going over to the kids and say, "Don't unsubscribe because every time I see you, I'm going to ask to see that you're subscribed. Otherwise, I'm taking that basketball card back."
You know, that's where it starts. You know.
That's
Speaking
right.
of like and subscribe, everyone like and subscribe.
Go follow and subscribe.
Right? I'm not good at that. Like I am not like does anyone else or do you guys have buttons for that or what do you guys do? I know like I'm not good at saying that. I'm not.
Well, we've gotten to where we're always running contests, so it's part of my little spiel prior to like this month. We have the Jester Sack as he's pretending to be Santa, but we got like 4 signed jerseys. We got Andre Reed, Chris Johnson, Jamison Williams, and Damon Harris, and we have a signed Jerry Jeudy helmet. So it's more of a contest. Hey, hit the subscribe button. We're giving that away in September, or excuse me, at the end of December on Christmas Day. So just part of a promotion, I guess. Like, hey, hit that subscribe button. You know, you can win. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I used to do the same kind of thing. I would give things away and have giveaways and things like that in the beginning because you got to get some in the beginning because when people see you have 50, it's like early on like that. They're like, oh, I don't want to sub to this guy. He has 50 subscribers. He's not real. So, but once you get to like a real amount of subscribers, then it kind of shifts. And then it's more about just putting out good content. Just keep putting out good content and the rest will take care of itself. I don't even want, like I joked around, I did that early with the students. I really don't do that anymore. I'm not interested. Like my focus has changed. I'm not interested in just getting people randomly to subscribe. Oh, let me subscribe to your channel and support you. It's like if you don't like the content and you're not going to be watching the videos and liking them and not into it, I don't need those kind of subscribers because it doesn't matter. Like the subs number no longer matters for me. Once I broke 1,000, it's meaningless. No. I want subs that are Jet fans. That means that when I do live streams, I'll have more viewers, and when I do videos, I'll have more viewers.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm kind of all over the place. I bring everyone in, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but you know, people always email me or ask me questions like, "Hey, do you know anyone from here and here?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe." I mean, I've done a lot of shows that way. Well, we actually got a comment.
He's telling you how to get. Isn't this guy on your channel? Sometimes doesn't he watch the show with Gina?
I don't know who. I don't know. I never.
Actually, he's a 49er fan that watches the show, the 49er overreaction show. No, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh boy, yeah. This is we get these a lot. It's like, hey, we can promote your podcast. I'm like, okay, great.
$15, 200 subscribers, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
No, don't do anything. Don't ever do the thing where like there are people out there that'll hit you up on Instagram or Twitter, and they'll say it's algorithm. They're lying. It's like they have bots.
Oh yeah.
You'll mess up your channel too. Like YouTube will come after you. Like you don't want any part of that.
And this guy's listening like, oh, that was on Twitch. That was my first comment on Twitch.
Nice.
Right? Isn't that what that little isn't that what that is? That little
yeah, it is actually, yeah.
That's my first comment ever on Twitch. All right. Thank you.
Moving up in the world.
Remember, like and subscribe over there as well. I don't understand Twitch at all. Do you guys have Twitch?
I tried, and I try to put my videos to it also, and it didn't work, and I have no understanding of it. But it's good that you set up an account on it just in case.
I literally am the exact same way. I set an account up, I put it through StreamYard, and it keeps saying nothing's streaming. I'm like, all right, well, bump it. I have the account there. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
If you go watch it live, you'll be on. I did see that. I was like, oh, cool.
okay.
So it does work. It just Twitch just doesn't save your videos for some reason. That's like whenever you're cleaning out your broadcast and you see like nothing's on there, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure you have to clean out your stuff. You have way more content than I do, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, whenever you go to clean out your yard, you're like, what do you mean nothing viewed?
You got to clean up your yard. It's true.
So, but thank you, boys, for coming on this morning. Commish, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
At some point. Is your show over at 10 again tomorrow? Or
Yeah, it's over at 10. Yes, sir.
I'll see if we can get Gina to delay the start a little bit. We'll see what I can do. But anyway, Jets Chaos, how people get you?
Just outreach Jets Chaos on YouTube. And if you don't recognize the guy in the video, it's because my brother also makes short videos for me as well. So we look alike, and some people don't know the difference, and some people say, hey, that's not the same guy. But anyway, I got live shows every Wednesday night. I go live on my Wacky Wednesday show, 10 o'clock Eastern time PM. It's the late night show. Then I pop up randomly at any other time, but it's other than the live show on Wednesday, it's mostly videos from me and my brother, and just a lot of fun, a lot of good times. Nice little community we're building, and we welcome all fans. You know, my number one moderator and person who's helping my channel is a Miami Dolphins fan.
Love it.
He's like one of the biggest supporters of the channel. He's a moderator. He puts up the links for me. He's in all my chats. He's telling everybody to hit the like button. And he's a Miami Dolphin fan. And we're friends. We talk on, offline on Facebook and about the Dolphins and Jets when we want honest takes without the nonsense and the taunting and just like real insight on each other's teams.
I think you guys should do a show, but that's just me. Commish, how people get you?
Go to TSS Fantasy. You can go on YouTube. Go follow us everywhere on social media. It's not hard to find. It stands for The Shit Show, so it literally can't forget it. We are on Mondays, not Mondays. We took that show out. We're on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. You can wake up with us early on Sunday mornings. We have a injury expert in. We got a betting advice. We go over all of your fantasy questions, and then we go over our picks of the week. Fridays, our TGIF show. We do a fun fantasy feud on that night, so that's fun. Talk about all the games and get into the matchups as well. And on Wednesdays, that's our big game Wednesday show. So we pick a big game. Last night, it was Dolphins-Niners. So we had Gina G repping the Bay, and we had Dolph Reeky, the Dolphins fan of the year this year, kind of debate back and forth the games. Those are always fun. So we might have to bring in Jets Chaos in for the next Jets matchup, pit him up against someone. So yeah, other than that, go to TSS Fantasy. Hit the subscribe button. I don't care if you watch or not. I'm good. Just sit here and hit that subscribe. We're good either way.
Like I said, I got home from work late and tuned in late to your show. I was hoping to see Gina, but now I got to rewatch the beginning.
Yeah, it's right on the front. She said she had to go early, so we started it right off the jump.
That's what you were saying before. But anyway, boys, thank you for popping on. As always, you're welcome to come back anytime you want. I still want to get that Miami room going, Commish. And I want to have a Jets revamp with everyone too there, Mr. Chaos.
Well, sounds like a good time for the last game of the season. So,
yep, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, have a good one. Don't be too hard on those freaking kids today, but they still need adulting. Don't let them run. Don't let them run all over you. All right, guys. Have a good one, and I am out.
Thank you.